What's up, Laura?
You.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How's America treating you?
It's uh it's good. It's wild. So I'm in a hotel room right now, obviously. I'm in Maryland. My dad has the kids, which is awesome. My
That's
jet
good.
lag is a little better. I have slept 3 nights in a row. Actually, today I overslept.
That would be the hardest part for me is trying to get used to the time change.
I just can't believe it, honestly. And I really think, I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but I think that your body gets used to your body gets used to a lot of things, but like we travel a lot. And I literally noticed that my body has responded differently over the years to jet lag.
That
And
I
I
mean that
think
makes sense.
it's kind of wild because I remember when we moved to Germany, but before moving to Germany, we traveled, but it was sporadically. We weren't changing time zones as drastically, like as often. Then we moved to Germany. It took 2 weeks to get over the jet lag. Like we were sleeping at random times, and
Yeah.
it was insane. And my brother in law was like letting us sleep too long. That's a whole other thing. I was really pissed. It was like he was like keeping our room really dark and not waking. I was like, wake us up at 9. We need to be up at a normal time because he was already living there and we were staying with him for the first 2 weeks. Well, the first morning, I remember we woke up at 2 p.m. and the sun in Germany, it was winter. It sets at 4. So I was like, dude, we literally slept the entire day. I told you to wake us up at 9, and all the rooms like have darkening shades, so we had no idea. It was literally the middle of the night in our heads. I was so mad because I was like, you're keeping us from being able to adjust.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it took forever. And then every time we travel, it's like a little bit. But our routine lately, over the last however many years, all of us has been we wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, like bam. So I'm ready. We take melatonin. We use melatonin. Don't judge. We use melatonin to really help with it helps massively. So if you take melatonin before you go to bed, even if you're
Yeah.
tired, it's sending that signal in your body, like, okay, it's melatonin time. Like I'm in a different place, but it's melatonin time. So we take
Yeah.
melatonin and then we keep it next to our bed because guaranteed 3 a.m. we're going to open our eyes. And I tell the kids, we give them obviously like a much smaller portion, but as
Yeah.
soon as your little baby brain wakes up and starts, wanting to, read or pop on your phone or wake me up, like take that immediately and then give it like 20 minutes and then you'll go back to sleep. Nobody woke up.
That's awesome.
Nobody
I mean
woke up.
that's the perfect use for melatonin is
Yeah.
for getting you back in that, setting that all up again the way it
Yeah.
should be. Yeah.
Though, I was talking to our friend. Oh yeah, so it's been 3 nights that we've slept. Like amazing. And we still feel like we hit a wall when it's like between 3 to 5 p.m. here, like regular time. It's like 4 a.m. in Korea, so we definitely it feels like the middle of the night all of a sudden. Like you all of a
Yeah.
sudden just feel like you're awake in the middle of the night. And that's a sucky feeling because usually that's when like we've been out with friends. Like last night we're at that baseball game and baseball's already boring, so all of a sudden I feel like it's 4 a.m. and I'm like trying to stay awake like at a baseball game. I was like, this is not a good combination. But you said something else that I was going to respond to and I don't remember what it was. Using melatonin. I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
fine. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, so we're good.
That's good.
We're good.
That's good.
Yep. Adjusted, I feel. I'm hoping today's the day that I don't feel like at 3 to 5 p.m. that it's the middle of the night. That I would
Yeah.
like that to go away. And my stomach's a little off too.
It's the
It's like it just
American
doesn't
food.
feel great.
It's
Oh,
the American food.
no. It's not that bad. You can find the good things if you know what to
Yeah,
look for.
that's true.
It is crazy how much fast food is available here, though. Like everywhere you go, there's multiple
Yeah,
options.
yeah.
It's
I
insane.
mean, we're all about convenience over
Yeah.
here.
Did you see my
Yeah.
stories on Instagram with Chick-fil-A?
About your son, and he was like,
Yeah.
"What's a Chick-fil-A?"
Yeah.
That's
It was
funny.
so funny because we're in line and I was excited to have Chick-fil-A because I'm not a big Chick-fil-A person. So Donovan
Yeah,
he was like, I thought you didn't like Chick-fil-A. I was like, I don't dislike Chick-fil-A. Like, I'm not a Chick-fil-A person, but I was excited for Chick-fil-A because it was of the fast food options in the airport. It was probably the one that was going to give me, and my stomach wasn't feeling that great. And I always find when I eat something a little greasy, like a fried chicken sandwich is always my go-to. I don't know if that's weird, but when my stomach is like, when I've been like nauseous, I need like oil, like straight fried
it's the
food.
exact opposite of me.
Really?
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
soda and fried food. And
I
that is
need
like the only thing.
I need carbs like bread or bagel.
Uh-huh. I mean, that
Yeah,
makes sense. And I mean, my chicken sandwich has a bun. So maybe, maybe it's more the bun. I don't know what it is, but I just ever since I was younger, when I get motion sickness, I need a fried chicken sandwich and
That's
a
weird.
Coke. Yeah,
People
so
people say that when they're hungover too. A lot of times when you're hungover, you
yeah,
crave that kind of food. So I don't
yeah.
know.
See, yeah. So we're in line getting our Chick-fil-A, and Joaquin, he's 8. He's like, I'll have a burger. And so, because he's recognizing that it's a fast food place, the menus look similar. He understands the concept. We're not like I don't know, crazy people. We're not cavemen.
Yeah.
But it was so funny watching the reactions of the other people in line while I'm trying to explain to my son that this place doesn't have burgers because it only has chicken. Why would it only have chicken? What do you mean? It's fast food. And I was like, it's Chick-fil-A. What's a Chick-fil-A? It's like, well, it's the name of the restaurant. I'm pointing up. I was like, Chick-fil-A. And, he's an 8-year-old boy. He's not like a toddler. So everybody in line, it's not like we haven't, you can tell we're American. Like, we don't like stand out like a sore thumb. We
Yeah.
very much blend in. So everybody's like, how does this child not know what Chick-fil-A is? And
We
it
don't
was
have a
very
Chick-fil-A
funny.
over here.
You don't?
No.
I thought everywhere in America had Chick-fil-A's.
No. I mean, there might be one now in Albany, but, that's like far away. I don't, just go there
Yeah.
for Chick-fil-A. So.
Have you been to Chick-fil-A before then?
No.
Oh, so your kids wouldn't know what a Chick-fil-A is either.
No, they wouldn't.
That's so funny. Do your kids like any specific, does Caleb like any specific fast food places?
He chooses Burger King if he has a choice, but he doesn't really even really like it that much. I don't know why. He likes, actually, you know what? His favorite is Subway. He loves subs.
Really?
Yeah.
What does he get?
A ham sub.
Nah, that's the wrong choice. Meatball.
Meatball?
Meatball sub with that melted cheese.
Yeah. I don't like messy ones like that.
Mm.
The taste is probably good, but I get turkey.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed in general by almost all restaurants here. Almost all, definitely fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
And I remember, again, I know how I sound. I don't mean to sound snooty, but the McDonald's in Europe are actually what the commercials of McDonald's are like. When the bun is rounded with all the seeds still intact and it's fluffy and there's like a nice piece of lettuce crispy sticking out the edges on the commercials. And then you go to McDonald's and it's like not anything like that at all.
Yeah.
Like in the commercials, they use like very nice lettuce. Like they use like bib lettuce or like no, when you go there, you get iceberg, like shredded probably. It's not even like a nice leaf of iceberg. It's like the bottom of the thing. They're scraping it. But in Europe, you get beautiful buns and they slide them real nice into the sleeves. It's like what the commercial looks like. It's nice McDonald's. So we would go to McDonald's on road trips and stuff.
I wonder
First
why
McDonald's
that is.
here, it was awful.
That's weird. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I feel like there's so many things I could say about American food and I just sound awful, but it's like so frustrating. Like you can, 20 minutes away is each McDonald's, over in Europe, or 20 minutes to an hour, depending. So, you have to drive to get there unless you're lucky enough to just have one. And then they're nice and they're clean and they recycle everything as separate bins for recycling. And it's just beautiful food. And then we did our first road trip in the United States and stopped at a McDonald's and my kids were like angry. They like wouldn't eat their food and they're like, what's going on? And it was like kind of dirty and they were yelling at us in the middle of the McDonald's and they're like loudly comparing it to European McDonald's. And I was like, shut up. You sound awful right now. Like, I don't want to be those people with the kids that are like, in Germany, shush. We are in the middle of nowhere. And these people do not want to hear you, snotty little kids. So yeah, we tried again and it's just not good.
I don't really eat fast food very often, so I don't really have a.
Yes, we know, Laura. You are a nutritional goddess.
I'll eat Subway sometimes,
I can't believe you'll eat Subway
or pizza.
Remember that time? I think it was like 2 weeks ago where you were saying that you kind of ate like crap and you were feeling guilty. And I was like, yeah, Laura, what'd you eat?
I wasn't feeling guilty, but I was like, I need to, eat better. Yeah.
You were feeling icky. You were feling kind of like, oh, icky, not a great day.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, I know how that feels. Like, yeah, what'd you eat? And it was a freaking
protein bars.
Protein bar. I was like, what? Come again? You realize that's what a lot of people eat who have good days of nutrition. Oh, poor everybody listening. All the people. All the people listening.
Yeah.
Are like, oh, what? What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. Laura's just, she doesn't eat any processed food.
I eat some. I just don't eat a lot of it.
Yeah. So what else is up? You got anything interesting going on this week?
Nothing. This is the last week of school.
Oh my gosh,
Juliana.
really?
Yeah, Caleb has 2 more days next week. Today he has a half day, and then next week he has, Monday and then a half day Tuesday. So he's pretty much done. So,
and she has summer school plans, right?
Yes.
But he does not?
We're going to send him to summer camp.
Cool. That's a good idea.
Yes. It'll be good for him.
My kids are at Camp Gee Mom and Gee Pop right now. My grandparents. Yeah.
Oh.
You don't know what a Gee Mom and a Gee Pop is?
I was like,
how could you not know those words?
I thought that was an actual thing, and I'm like, what is this?
Oh, that's an interesting camp. What do they do there? Be a very strange name for a camp. This is full of old people that take care of the kids. It'd be concerning.
That was one of my dumb moments that I have.
Well, I mean, Gee Mom and Gee Pop are not normal grandparent words. So yeah. I said it as if you should know. I couldn't say grandma and grandpa when I was little, so I called my grandparents Gee Ma and Gee Pop or something. Oh. And then so that stuck. So I had a Gee Mom and a Gee Pop. But then when my daughter was born, my dad and my stepmom decided they wanted to be Gee Mom and Gee Pop to pass on, but I thought it was funny because then when more so my daughter, she's the one that more thinks about this stuff. My son's like, everything goes over his head. But once she got probably 3 or 4, she started saying, why do we call them that? And I have to, because I couldn't say grandma and grandpa. So why are we saying what you couldn't say? I don't know, man. Like, It's cute. And they're Gee Mom and Gee Pop. So, that's funny. Yeah. So they're there and they're having a blast. My dad is, he's such a cool guy. Like when I was young, I didn't live with my dad. My parents divorced when I was very young, but I would visit. We always lived across the country from each other because we moved around a lot. My stepdad was in the Army, but he was always here in Maryland. And so I would visit like once a year, which is wild. If you think about it, I was like 5 and my mom would put me on an airplane by myself.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. I think it started when I was 5 because we lived in Texas, Arizona, California, which is all the way on the other side of the country. And we didn't have like FaceTime and stuff like that back then. It was old school. My dad would send me care packages with like maps to show where we were. And I'd get on a plane, but it was when you could walk up to the gate. It was before we had all that security. So they'd walk right in the airport, walk me up to the gate. A stewardess would come out, like take me. I'd sit on the plane. They'd bring me snacks and little airplane wings. And my dad would be waiting on the other side of the gate as soon as the plane landed. And I'd go for like a whole summer, like 1 to 2 months I would be there. Can you imagine just being a kid? You're used to your mom all the time, and then you're just away from your mom with this guy that's your dad for 2 months.
No, that's weird.
And like, I know it's my dad, right? But it's different because it's not home. He hasn't parented me for the whole year, so he's like trying to figure out what am I like.
Yeah, and every year you're a year older, so it's like a different version of you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Very crazy, but I have good memories, and he would take me hiking and backpacking and, out in the woods all the time, very outdoorsy guy. And he kind of does the same thing. My son and my dad made a birdhouse from scratch in his basement yesterday. That's I thought that was really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So cool. All right. Should we talk about fitness things?
Yeah, I have something that's kind of fitnessy. I mean, it is fitnessy, but not like, anyway, I'll just talk. So,
let's hear it.
Last week we were talking about, focusing on certain muscles and growing those. So this week I changed up my programming. It inspired me to focus on building my quads so I can get bigger quads than you,
right?
Because I can't let that go. So,
and you took the opportunity to do it while I was incapacitated, traveling for 6 weeks.
So I've been focusing on that this week.
She's scared.
Yeah. And so the way I did it was I'm doing legs 3 days a week, upper body 2 days a week. That way I can spread that volume out and I'm not doing too much on, one day, and I'm going to do like maintenance, like it's a little bit above maintenance volume for my upper body. So, like maybe like 6 might be the lowest amount of sets to like maybe 10 sets, depending on the muscle. And then for the quads, I'm doing like 18 for this first week, and it's gonna be an 8-week program, and it's gonna gradually go up to 26 sets by the end. And I added like different exercises I'm not used to. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I don't remember the last time I was that sore. It was like like when you first start working out for the first time. Like I was having a hard time sitting down. Like peeing was very difficult.
I was going to say, were you able to sit on the toilet?
Yeah, it was so challenging. And I think it's just because it's like, so I work out at home, so I don't have certain things that you would get at the gym. So like I can't do a hack squat at home. I don't have a hack squat machine, but I decided to do a landmine hack squat, which I've never done before. So doing something like that. And then I did hamstring curls with the cable because I don't have the, on the bench, I don't have that, the ability to do that. So I added like prone hamstring curls with the cable, things like that I'm not used to doing. So the next day I was like,
So have you done workout 2 yet?
Yes, I did. So I was going to work out Monday through Friday because I'm just more consistent than having to work out on the weekend. But Wednesday I needed a break because I was still ridiculously sore. So I was like, I think mobility might be better today. So I did mobility on Wednesday. And then, so yesterday was my second lower body. Today I did upper body. Tomorrow I'll do my last lower body.
I mean, Laura, you're a trainer. What do we always tell our clients? Week 1 of a new program, you're not supposed to go completely full out balls to the wall.
Well, I didn't though. Like I didn't go like I'm doing everything on an RPE of 7 this first week.
So you were keeping it lighter, but I think just the amount of exercises and they were hitting in different ways because you're not used to doing them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel better now already. I already feel like after yesterday's workout today, it hasn't been a very long time yet, so I don't know, but I don't feel like super sore today.
Well, that's a benefit too. I mean, we talk to people who either, because I feel like the amount of DOMs that you get, delayed onset muscle soreness, that somebody gets, part of that is like genetically wired, like how badly you experience it. Because I know that we've had clients before who, like, no matter what, it's sore. They're sore all the time. And then other people who like never get sore. But for the most part, when people are sore, their instinct is to like not do anything, right? So like, I'm really sore from a workout. Oh my gosh, should I work out again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And this shows that like, I mean, you're already feeling better because you're being consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you should. Like Wednesday was just, I felt like I was going to be able to have a better workout if I moved it to Thursday, but I'm still doing everything this week. It's just putting that actually, which actually makes more sense anyway, to put the rest day there. It's just that I know that I don't like to work out on the weekends, but I can. So yeah. So I'll just have to do a workout tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. I usually say like, just go through the motions. A lot of times once you get your warm up done, you actually feel, you go in stiff and you can barely move and you're so sore. But once you kind of go through the motion, start getting the blood flow into the area and all that stuff, then you start feeling a little better. And then if you go in to do a body weight squat, and it didn't feel as bad as I thought it would. And then before you know it, you're going through your workout and you can lower the load. Yeah. But going through the motions is actually going to help that healing process as well. It's going to help the DOMs go away quicker. So
yeah, that's what I did on Wednesday too, is I did some like light goblet squats and things to get, because I was having issues getting down there.
Yeah.
So I needed to loosen up a little. So yeah. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
If I turn this all the way down and cough, will anybody hear me? I'm going to cough. Let's try it.
Nope.
Did you hear? So anytime I need to cough, if I just
Mine has a mute button, so I can just mute it.
It's brand new podcasters. This is what it is. Okay, but on the topic of soreness and not coughing and mics, there was something else I was just about to say in response to what you said. Anyway,
I don't know, but I'm really enjoying it though, and it's nice to do a hypertrophy focused um, workout because I'm always focused on strength, and I just need a break. Like I just don't
Yeah.
want to do it right now. Like lifting that heavy, I think I need a break. I normally love that, but every time I know I have to like go in and do something heavy, I'm like I can't. I think it's also because I'm getting so strong that it's like every time
It's
it's just
true.
it's exhausting.
Tell all the people how strong you are. I think I actually did this last episode. Maybe that'll
uh,
be a theme.
I don't. I mean, I I don't know.
What was it 270? Did you
270 for my
lift
deadlift. Yeah.
at 5'1" and 123 pounds?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is insanely
It's
strong.
like 2 point something times my body weight. My
And you've
goal
been
is to get
lifting
to
for what, 3-4 years? You've been lifting
four
for
year 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. I want to get to 300
That
pounds.
would be
Is my goal.
badass. That
Yeah.
would be so cool.
And then once I get there, I think I'll calm down. Calm
Yeah.
down a little
I
bit.
mean, we're almost 40. I was
Ow.
talking to a friend the other day who's a guy, Jack, military guy, and we talk
Yeah.
about fitness a lot. He's a friend in my Taekwondo class. I've shown you, he's a beast. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this guy. You guys should see his all you people, you should see this friend of mine. I wonder if he'll listen to this. That would be funny. What's up, Ross? He's a beast in Taekwondo. I mean, this guy is so strong, but we were just talking in general about, he's like, yeah, I'm at that point where, I had this bench goal. I wanted to do, whatever weight it was in bench, and I got there, but, not without some, shoulder things going on. And you're just at the age where you go, I'm good. Like I did, that was cool. I did that. Let's go down the hill now. Let's not get hurt.
Let's calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. I'm starting to feel
You know
that.
what? This is totally random, but I feel like it might fit in. Do you ever like, something I'm noticing as I get older is my body gets stuck. Like, okay, for example, I always sit cross-legged, like whether I'm at a restaurant, whether I'm whatever, I take my shoes off and I pull my legs up on my chair and I sit like a child. And I notice that when like my toes are scrunched under me for an extended period of time, when I fold my legs, like they stay like stuck.
Yeah.
And that never used to happen before. It's not something I ever noticed. It's like it takes me a sec, and then it takes my legs a sec to remember that they go straight. And I kind of like have to stand up slow, and I have to almost like stretch a little bit, like remind my body. It's almost like my whole body gets stuck in a position, and then getting into the next position, even if it's just standing, like takes a hot second.
Yeah, I think I've always been that. Not when I was a child, but since I've been an adult, I've always been that way because just get a little stiff. I get stiff really easily. But yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's something I've noticed 35 plus. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm having visions of like an elderly person very slowly getting out of bed or up from a chair and like taking, a full 10 to 15 seconds to like right their body. Yeah. And I'm like, is this, just what it's going to be?
I don't know if like it's actually gotten worse since I've gotten older because I'm more fit now than I used to be, and I'm more mobile. So I don't know. I think it's about the same. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you know. Yeah. 10 years, I'll let you know how elastic my toes are.
Yeah, toes are different, but yeah, I'm thinking more.
Well, it's everything, but that is something I notice. Like if I stick my foot out and I look, it's in the same. It's kind of disturbing to think about, so I'll stop that mind thing. I don't want you thinking about my feet.
Your gross
that's
feet.
Enough. Moving on. Anyway, I'm still mad at you though that you're doing that. Because, you're talking about, oh, I'm so sore, but I have this program. It's going to gradually kick up, and then I'm going to be doing 26 sets by the end. So basically, when I'm ready to start, you're going to be like 45 sets for quads per week, not sore at all. And then...
No, because you have to give your body a break. So I'm not going to do quads just doing this for 8 weeks, and then I'll switch to something else. You can't just do that forever. You'll more likely get, injured and stuff. So you need to give your body a break. So I might switch to a different muscle. Actually, by then, do you still want to do the power building?
I don't know.
Because you were saying something about not wanting to, like, you don't feel like lifting heavy either. So maybe we take a break and we focus on hypertrophy for like a year.
But I like the idea of doing the same program.
Yeah.
And having something we're both working towards, which I think we discovered we're both interested in, obviously increasing our pull-ups and then maybe quad thickness.
I would have
like
waited.
Having something.
Yeah, I would have waited if I would have knew that we were going to do that.
I thought that we were on the same page, and now I'm mad at you. So I'm just going to have to live with that truth.
I mean, I guess I could do quads again. I could take a little break and then do it again.
I mean, I'll give you a little bit of a head start. You know, you want to try to get like an 1/8 of an inch in diameter. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. Did you hear about the new intermittent fasting study that came out? I mean, it's not that surprising, honestly, but I see a lot of fitness people are talking about it. I even made a reel on it because, you know, you feel like you should. You see everybody else making these reels on like these new things. And when I see them, I'm like, yeah, I know. I've seen it.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just like, anytime I hear anything about intermittent fasting, I just kind of like, it's not interesting to me. So I don't pay attention because I already know, unless it's something different that we don't already know.
Well, that's the thing. We already know, but the people...
Yeah.
All the people. They don't necessarily know because I'm still getting lots of questions. And look, intermittent fasting for me, I'm actually kind of a fan. I'm a fan of the general like idea. And it's not intermittent fasting is the umbrella term, right? People like to say intermittent fasting when they actually mean time restricted feeding, which time restricted feeding is really just you're shortening the window in it. You're still eating every day. You're not actually fasting at all. It falls under this umbrella of intermittent fasting, but it's not really because you're never actually fasting because you're never actually giving your body the opportunity to completely digest and then get rid of everything that's in your body. That's fasting.
Yeah. Unless you do it for days. Time restricted
feeding falls at, right. So this study was on time restricted feeding, but it falls under this umbrella of intermittent fasting. But it was basically what did it take? It took a good population. It was like 93% of the participants were women. And they were Black American women, which I thought was cool because we don't have a lot of studies on, right. It's a lot of times like white men and usually like college age white men. So I thought it was good. The people that were studied. And they were obese and I believe they were all obese. And I think they were either diabetic or like pre-diabetic or managing diabetes through diet. So somewhere in there. So the study was looking at time restricted feeding and it was very like well controlled. They took all these people and they controlled their calories via, you know, whatever the ways that they do it. And then, you know, one group of them got their calories dispersed throughout the entire day and the other group got their calories in an 8 or 10 hour window. I think it was. So I started eating at like 1 p.m. and, you know, stopped at whatever. So they were not eating either in the morning or stopping eating early in the day and not eating at night. So either way, there was a big portion of the day where they weren't eating. All their calories were in one small window. And they were looking at weight loss differences. So they had them all on like weight loss calories. And so they were looking at weight loss, but they were also looking at insulin response and like glucose like response and to see if there was any difference in either of the groups. And we probably know what happened, right? There was no difference no difference at all.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Which we know, right? That's why when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I know. You know, we've seen this.
Yeah.
But of course, every time something new comes out that further points to it, and that's well done because not all studies are necessarily well done. You could point at different flaws or people can nitpick different things. Well, what about this or what about that or blah, blah, blah. But I think the other cool thing about this, and I don't really know if that's something that's necessarily been really pulled at, but a lot of people's arguments for like intermittent fasting or time restricted feeding is like, oh, well, yeah, of course, in weight loss, if your calories are matched, it doesn't matter when you eat them, but for the health benefits, you know, everybody's like, oh, for the longevity benefits, or, oh, for the, you know, insulin response. And this study is one that shows that no, not even for that, and not necessarily longevity, right? But we still don't have any actual evidence that points to any benefits of that either. Yeah,
no, not when you just compare it to restricting your calories in general. Everything comes out the same. Yeah,
right. When you know, if weight loss is achieved in somebody who probably should have had weight loss because that's the limiting factor for their health, then, you know, when we tease that out, you know, you can't really tell a difference. Was it intermittent fasting? Or was it just the weight loss?
Yeah.
That, you know, that helped those markers.
Yeah.
And I think I've read, I don't have anything actually like to point right now, but all of the stuff I've read over the years has given me the opinion that if there are like longevity benefits to intermittent fasting, it's when you're pushing the intermittent fasting to like entire 24 to 48 hour periods.
Yeah.
And that needs to be studied a little bit more to
Yeah,
see if there's
definitely.
actual, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, from everything I've seen, as long as if your calories are the same, if you're restricting your calories, it should come out, you should get the same benefits of both. So you don't have to do it that way, but I think it's a good tool for certain people who it might be easier for them to eat less if they do it that way. But me, I don't like it. So I don't, I don't like, I work out in the morning. So I like to eat right after that. Doesn't do well with me. And I kind
Yeah,
of feel really crabby. Like I feel like I'm more on edge when I
oh
take
for
that
sure.
break. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not good with big meals. I do better with smaller meals
Hmm.
and eating more frequently.
I feel
But
like I change.
yeah, it depends on what I'm eating too, I think.
I change all the time. So like I'm always flip-flopping, depending on, I feel like I do new things quarterly, in
Yeah.
my business and my
Yeah.
fitness and it's just every quarter I feel like I need a whole new routine, but I need a routine. It can't just be random. It's got to be a routine.
Maybe that's
But
your
I definitely go
ADHD.
through, I think so. I definitely think
Yeah.
so. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I like that. So what I said, I kind of started this out by saying I'm a fan of intermittent fasting. I'm a fan of time restricted feeding for certain people and in certain seasons or quarters of their life,
Yeah.
depending on, because what I like about it is the
Yeah.
structural benefits. So if you're eating at a calorie deficit, if you're on low calories and you have a hard time meeting those calories because you feel like you're just eating bird food all day because you're trying to stretch your calories out from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., giving yourself a smaller window can be beneficial structurally to help you maintain your calorie deficit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that
Yeah.
is the only benefit that it has, and that's only person dependent, season dependent, depending on where you are in your life. So I will sometimes practice that if it's first, I go through like quarters of time where I need to eat these massively large meals and feel very full. But right now
Yeah.
I'm like with you. Like I can't eat large amount of food. I'm finding myself not finishing my meal at a restaurant. I'm like, who am I? Oh, I'm a little full, so I'm going to stop. What? Like that, I don't know. I don't know why. I just
Yeah.
all of a sudden I can identify with that, but
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely think it depends. But yeah, so I like that. I like seeing that new study, well done on a
Hmm.
on a specific population of women. You know what, I still don't fully, we should do some research. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on this. I wrote an intermittent fasting article a few years ago, and in it, the research that I did pointed to the idea that it could be a little bit stressful on a woman's body, especially in certain hormonal periods of time, right?
Yeah.
And you'll see a lot of people like, who's that one woman, Dr. Stacy Sims? She's like a look her up. She's a beast, but she's very much, she's an expert on like women's like health and metabolism, and she hates intermittent fast. She says it's awful for women
Yeah.
in any stage of life, that women should not do any sort of stressful like reserving calories, because of the stress it adds on the body, especially because she's very much with like active population. She works with like female athletes, so she's like, for the female athlete, putting your body through any kind of like
Yeah.
restricted calorie intake is awful. But she basically says for women in general, women should not intermittent fast, time restrict feed at all. But
Yeah.
then you'll see others that, this was a study done on women, and they, I don't know, we didn't necessarily see any negative things either. So I'm still holding out to see if there actually is true negatives. Do you know much for women in particular?
I mean, I've heard that before, but it might also be, I don't know, depending on what other stressors you have in your life, depending on the person. Um, Also, how long did they do the study? Because I mean, the
Right.
longer you do it, probably the more stressful it would be. When you do things in short periods, sometimes it's fine. If you do it
Right.
all the time, though, it becomes a problem.
Right.
So yeah, I have heard that though before, and for me, I do notice that I just don't feel very good when I do it, so I don't
Right.
do it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's definitely no inherent benefits to intermittent fasting on weight loss now that we know. So if if you're wondering at all if this would like affect you in a negative way, then just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Yeah.
In the intermittent fasting article I talked about, it's on my website. If you want to go read it, strengthbyjamiebuttrussell.com. So I laid out like a couple of common structures of intermittent fasting. The most common one is time restricted feeding, where you eat right. But then there's these other ways of doing it, like alternate day or 2 days a week, fasting, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But I kind of made up my own one, which was, if you just like the structural benefits of like time restricted feeding, but you can't actually not eat all, certain windows, because like you said, you work out in the morning, having like a shake in the morning, just kind of try like lower calorie amounts at certain times of the day so that you can kind of almost reserve most of your calories for later. You can still kind of manipulate your calories without committing to, 0 calories until, 1 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah. I was just thinking that we can like link that article in the show notes.
Oh afterwards. Yeah. We'll link the article in the show notes. I don't know how to do show notes yet.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. By the time all the people see and hear this, it'll be in the show notes.
Awesome. I had a topic, and it kind of goes along with this a little bit, and it's about improving your relationship with food, because I feel like it's not a sexy topic, but I feel like that's something that would improve most people's, fitness journeys in life in general. Like when we have clients who, our most successful clients with us are ones that follow the plan and actually do what we say and, trust the process, all of that. If you just do what we say most of the time, good things will happen. But the ones that I feel like the best about after they're done with us are the ones that not only made those like physical changes, but the mental changes and improve that, their relationship with food and everything. So I was thinking like we could talk about like what are some of the things that for you personally improved your relationship with food?
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, we don't have to.
Just kidding. You know what? You know what my first thought is when you say that? Like, what is one of the things that improved your relationship with food? And it's not something I think people would expect. But it's something I've talked about before. Tracking.
Yeah.
Actually improved my relationship with food. And I'm not saying that that's going to have that effect on everybody. But I hear so many people talking about how bad tracking is and it just makes me, obsessive.
Yeah.
I get that 100%. I've had periods of it not being necessarily a healthy tool to use, but overall learning about and tracking was one of the fastest ways to truly learn about the nutrition you're putting in your body. If you're really looking at, because I used to, typical, eating disordered eating habits, all the stuff, all the things. And I used to see food purely as, if it makes you fat or not, if it's good or bad or not.
Yeah.
Good or bad or not, any of them. But yeah, that's the mindset I had around food, which I think a lot of people in our general age demographic do. I'm really curious to see what this next generation, what the thing will be, because I feel like it's so common for us. But tracking my intake, no other diet or anything. My mom used to talk about how the South Beach diet, she was actually a fan of it because she says that it teaches you how to eat a little bit healthier and versus just purely restricting things. And so I went through the South Beach diet book years and years ago, and I didn't necessarily feel that way. I still felt like I was cutting out carbs and I was mad about it. But when I started tracking and I was learning, like it forces you, what tracking does is it forces you to look at food as like the literal macronutrients that it's comprised of, in terms of what you're trying to achieve with your body, usually aesthetically. So usually when somebody starts tracking, it's because they want to change how their body looks aesthetically. Usually they don't start tracking. Yes, you should track in order to help, fuel your body for exercise and, help you get stronger in the gym and make sure you're eating enough and all that stuff. But usually people don't start off tracking with that mindset. They start off tracking because they want to lose body fat, right? But it had that transformative effect for me of like forcing myself to look at those nutrient values and actually seeing that even when I ate mac and cheese, my numbers looked the same as if I ate like, maybe the micronutrients weren't as high, but I was still able to do everything I wanted to do, like eating foods that in the past would have been considered like off limits or bad.
Yeah, definitely. So, for me, like I think of like improving your relationship with food as balance,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like there's people on this end of the spectrum who, and these are the people we think of the most, are the people who have been restricting forever, because those are the
Mm-hmm.
people we generally work with.
Mm-hmm.
So, you like obviously that's not a good relationship if you're always thinking about restricting. But then there's the other end of the spectrum of people who the exact opposite. They just eat whatever they want, and it could be
Yeah.
based on you know the way the food tastes, whatever their reason is, but you got those two ends of the spectrum. So I feel like
Yeah.
improving that relationship is the balance between those two, and being able to, I mean, it's kind of like the point of the podcast, right? To live some pizza. It's
Mm-hmm.
about like uh the freedom part. It doesn't just mean you get to eat whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
It means that you're in control. Like you're in control of what you eat. You're in control of that. The food isn't controlling you. You make good food choices just automatically and because you want to, not because you feel
Yep.
like you have to. So for me, it's that like that balance there. And I feel like it's taken me a long time, but every year I get a little bit better at it. And every year, like we were just talking, like like a protein bar to me is like, and it's not that I'm like I don't feel guilty when I eat it. It's not like I feel like I'm doing something bad. I just know that I feel better when I eat better foods. So that's one of the things that actually helped me is thinking about the way food makes me feel after I eat it. Like that's a big one for me because that helps me make, because there's like pizza is one of the things that I do like to eat that actually doesn't make me feel crappy if I eat it, but only if I
Mm-hmm.
have like one or two pieces. If I go to like three or four pieces of pizza, then I'm going to feel crappy. So I'm able to limit it to two, plus I allow it in my diet so that I don't feel like the next time I eat it I'm just going to like shove pizza in my face, because I never allow it there. So
Exactly.
that's something too. But I think the beginning thing that helped me more than anything was, um, well, thinking about what I should eat and not what I shouldn't eat. So before I was very like, this food is bad, this food is bad. And not because I thought it was going to make me fat. Like I knew that, what calories were and everything. It was more like I thought this food was bad for me. So I would try to avoid these things. But it didn't improve my diet because I wasn't focused on what is going to make me feel better. It was just like, what should I avoid? So
Yep.
thinking about like adding protein in, making sure I get enough vegetables, all those things, that I feel like improved my relationship with food the most. And then also, and I hate when people say like food is fuel, but kind of thinking it that way, like fueling
Mm-hmm.
my workouts and thinking of like, because of course it's more than fuel, but like that's what that helped me too, is thinking about eating enough so that I actually have a good workout. Once I started like lifting weights and thinking about it that way, that 100%
Oh
improved
yeah.
that.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought up too. So remind me, keyword was the food is fuel. But like the idea, what you said before about it's also not a healthy relationship with food to just eat crap all the time and feel very free and unguilty about it. Like
No,
that's not good either.
no.
So I think when we think about, we as a population or whatever, as fitness and nutrition people, whether you're a professional or just interested in it, we always think about relationship with food as like, oh, being able to eat pizza and not feel guilty, or mac and cheese and not feel guilty. But there's a other side of the spectrum here.
Yeah,
If you're eating fast food and crap all day long and not feeling guilty at all ever, and
yeah,
I'm not saying you should feel guilty, but there should be some thought and care about,
yeah,
right, about your nutrition and your overall health and stuff. And that's
yeah.
the other end of the coin that we don't talk about enough.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think most of the people that we work with are on the other end, so we don't think about these people as much. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, in like America, like you were saying, there's more fast food places and everything around here. Like I think in America, more people are on that end of the spectrum where they
I
just
agree
eat.
with you.
Like, yeah, it's just that
Yeah.
those aren't the ones that are always looking for our help, I think.
Right. Or they're looking for different kind, like, so for our clients in particular, we're working for people who are already in the gym. They want to get strong. They want to learn
Yeah,
barbells, or they want to be lifting weights efficiently, and, stuff like this, our clientele rate. So we're not really working with those people as
yeah,
much, but for
yeah,
sure, I agree with you. There's probably a much larger population of people that struggle on that end of the spectrum.
yeah. Definitely, definitely.
But the food is fuel part as well. I feel like I can point to multiple. So when I talk about like improving relationship with food, I think starting to track was probably uh like the first thing. But then there's other things that I can point to that were shifts. You know, dramatic shifts. There's little shifts along the way you might not notice, but these dramatic shifts. And the next one after that, I think, was having my daughter. So just having a daughter changes the way that a mother might, especially coming from my background with the eating disorder and everything like that, what I wanted to model for her. So that was another big shift, was probably that whole year after I had her. And then I think another big shift was after kind of dieting for a very long time and eating low calories for a very long time. And I was so done. And I remember making this very intentional shift to, you know what? F this. I'm not going to F it route, but I'm going to do something I've never really done before, which is every time I put food in my mouth, I'm going to question myself. Is this going to get me, my pull-up goal? Is this going to get me my squat goal, my deadlift goal? And I'm just going to hit the gym hard. I'm going to go 5 days a week. I started going 5 days a week with a well-designed program. Like I was not like overtraining or doing, whatever. It was good. It was a good program. It was good 5 days a week. And then I was also doing the pull-up challenge. So every single day I was in the gym, I would just do as many pull-ups as I could, and I was doing this little pull-up challenge with myself. And every time I ate, I was like, is this going to help me or hinder me? How close am I to my workout? Is this going to, I'm 24 hours away from it. I'm fine. I can eat this. It's not really going to impact me. Oh no, it's tomorrow morning. I need to make sure that this nighttime snack, I don't want to just have this, whatever, high sugar, whatever it might be. I'm actually going to change it because I want it to have fuel. I want to, kill my deadlifts tomorrow morning or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the effects that had on my body without even tracking a single calorie. I was probably overeating. Not really. I mean, because my metabolism just went through the roof. Yeah. My lifts went through the roof. My body fat just melted off my body. I remember looking in the mirror going, what the heck? Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what happened to me when I first started lifting, is that's how I started thinking about food. And I upped my protein, all of that, and exact same thing. It was like, is this going to help me deadlift more? Is this going to help me get stronger? And I was eating way more food than I used to, and I lost weight by doing that.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And you and I talked about too, because I remember talking about that recently, about how when you're further along, kind of in like where we are, where we have a lot of experience with manipulating calories and all of this stuff. So we're at the point now where if we just said F it all and started like eating a bunch, we wouldn't necessarily notice those same dramatic things like, Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about fat melting off my body. It wouldn't necessarily happen now.
It doesn't work the same way anymore. I wish it did. Eventually, Yeah.
But if you're somebody who, we talk about newbies, if you're more in the beginning of your journey, you can see benefits like this. But it's also people who don't necessarily think they're newbies. People who are strength training and they're like, I'm doing everything right. I'm eating, well and healthy, and I'm lifting weights. But you look at the routine, and you can tell they're in that. This is a really pretty fun zone. It's like probably my favorite client is that person. That person that's like, I'm already in the gym. I already do deadlifts. I do squat. I'd like to get better. I eat healthy. I'm like, ooh. Yeah. Because you just kind of take their mind and you Play-Doh it a little bit. Yeah. And you give them a barbell and you teach them, really like, let's see your deadlift. Let's really like dig into this a little bit. And where that person can go is like extremely exciting.
Yeah. They have that foundation, but they haven't learned how to optimize everything yet and do everything the right way, but they have some experience. Yeah. Definitely. That's fun. That's fun.
My favorite. If you're out there, you're my favorite. I think some of our clients might know who I'm talking about right now. I'm not going to name names. Yeah. But I love you. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got max 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Before we talk too much for all the people.
Yeah, before it gets overwhelming, or you don't want to listen to us talk that long.
That could never happen.
Because we're so interesting. Yeah, so I just thought that was a good topic because I feel like those are the people that make that change. It just those are the people that are going to sustain the results, and those are the people that it's so freeing to just not have to worry about food as much. It's just easy.
Well, and like you said, it is freeing and it is great and all that stuff, but it's the literal only way to be able to do this forever.
Yeah.
But it is the thing that you can't just flip a switch in somebody's brain. Mm-hmm. They know it logically, But how do you get them to cross that bridge? That is like challenging sometimes. But when they do, and when they're there and they're committed, and a lot of people too aren't really committed. They say they want that, but they aren't actually committed to doing the things that are going to help them on that pathway. It's the person who you're constantly telling them the things they need to do. We need to crowd out your diet. We need to focus on lifting. Yes, we want to pay attention to nutrition, quality, all this stuff. We're not going to worry about your weight on the scale right now. We have other work to do. Trust me, it will come. And then 3 weeks later, you get a message. I'm not losing weight. This isn't working. Yeah. That's when you're like, oh, we're just not there yet. And if you're constantly doing that, you're not going to be able to do this forever. And you're not going to be able to reach the goals that you want to reach because you're not going to be able to sustain it. You can't be constantly obsessed about your aesthetics. You really do have to let go. It's like, I can't even say it. It's a Harry Potter thing and I'm going to give something away. Shoot. I just came up with a really good analogy and I can't say it. Oh, that's going to eat me alive.
Why? Because I haven't read it.
It's a huge giveaway at the end of Harry Potter. The analogy
like the very end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the thing that like would give away the entire. Well, I mean, there's other things that would be fun to discover, but I just don't think I can say it.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I just started reading Harry Potter with my son at night, so she doesn't.
And I'm late to the game. Like when I started reading Harry. Was I the one that convinced you? I'd like to take that pride.
Yeah, you're the one who convinced me to read it with him.
Okay, good.
I've read like the first 3 books when I was younger, like when I was a teenager or something, but
got it.
I don't remember them that well.
No, I'm gonna officially own the pride of passing on the desire to read Harry Potter with your kids. So I own that now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I convinced Laura to start reading Harry Potter with her son Caleb. I started with my kids, and I was late to the game. My friends have been trying to convince me to read Harry Potter, and I tried. Book 1, I think I tried like 5 times, but it's partially ADHD. I can't read something if my brain says no. It's even if I want to. There's 2 different tracks going on, so I just was never able to finish it. It wasn't interesting enough to me. But then when my kids were, I think 5 and 6, we started reading them, and we just 5 and 6. Holy moly, they're 8 and just turned 10 now. So it's been a few years. We read all of them, and it's been such a cool journey. And we just finished book 7 and the book 7 movie. And anyway, I'm not going to say my analogy. I'm really sad because I wanted to compare it. My brain is a genius, but I can't do it. But
I was trying to think of one, but I can't think of one right now.
No, it's because what I was going to say was, it truly is when that person can truly let go of the obsession with their aesthetic results, when they can actually walk away from it and not it has to be a full body thing. It can't just be on the surface of, okay, coach, like you have to actually internalize like, all right, I'm focusing on this right now. And this I'm not saying don't strive for it. I like to use the idea, like usually that goal, that number goal, like I want to be this weight or this body fat or the whatever aesthetic goal you have is like in a very rigid box. It's all you can see. I like to say, remove it from the box, put it in a cloud and let the cloud float away. It's not going anywhere. It's still there, but we're going to put something else in the rigid box, the daily goals that we're like going to hit every day in order to try to reach this vision that's now in a cloud that could change shape. And, but we're going to leave it over there. Yeah. And when somebody can actually do that, that's when all of a sudden, they look up one day and they're like looking in the mirror and all of a sudden they're happy with their appearance and where they're at and et cetera, et cetera.
It's better when you don't pay attention to it. It's more likely to happen.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Eventually, like we said, when you get to like our level, you do have to. Otherwise,
our level.
Yeah, because we're way up here.
Rise to the top, as we have. All you people.
I didn't mean to make it sound like that.
It's okay. It's correct.
That's not how
Not everybody can be the creme de la creme.
If anybody knows, I'm not like that.
No, we're not at all.
Opposite. But once you get a little bit more advanced, you do have to try a little harder to make things happen, but you have to do that like foundational work first.
Yeah, but even once you're there, like you can try harder, quote unquote, with you go about it in a totally different way with different expectations, much more realistic time frame. Much easier ability to maintain your lifestyle alongside, you know, all of this stuff. But you got to go through the other stuff first.
Yes.
You have to. Otherwise, not saying you can't lose weight doing it, you know, not achieving that, because people do, but that's when you have these chronic dieters yo-yoing, gain it back, hiring different people, trying different programs. That's when you're stuck in that hamster wheel for years.
Yeah. Maintaining the results is so much more impressive than getting it in the first place.
100%. You do almost anything to achieve weight loss, right?
Yeah.
But being able to maintain it and live a good lifestyle while maintaining it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, enjoying life at the same time and not making it like it just becomes a lot easier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, go look at the show notes because there's stuff in it. Is that only on YouTube? Like, do you only do show notes on YouTube?
No, you do it
on Spotify?
No, you do it on yeah, you can do that. And you can put like links to different things and our Instagrams and our websites, and you know, if you want to work with us or
notes,
join the squad, whatever.
You can join the squad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that next week.
Okay.
We were not prepared. In the show notes, you can find the link to the intermittent fasting study that I talked about. Mm-hmm. You can find articles and Instagram links.
Yeah.
And info on the squad.
Yeah. Great.
Awesome. I'll talk to you in about 2 minutes after I end this.
All right.
Bye. Like, subscribe, share.
Bye.